Classification based on physics. Part 1.
Welcome to the lecture series in Carnatic music. In this session, we shall discuss about the classification of musical instruments. Introduction. Musical instruments constitute an important item of a nation's cultural wealth. Musical instruments have been in existence from the dawn of human history. Each nation has its own set of musical instruments that might be originated here or derived from other nations. Every instrument has its individual process of evolution before reaching its present form. The number of instruments present in India is so wide and varied that they require a broad classification to discern them better. Based on some important criteria, instruments are classified in different methods. In the forthcoming sessions, we shall discuss about the classification of musical instruments based on few essential criteria. In this session, we shall discuss about the classification of musical instruments based on physics.
String instruments, chordophones. Classification. Based on physics, musical instruments are broadly classified into 1. Stringed instruments, where the sound is produced by setting the strings in vibration. 2. Wind instruments, where the sound is produced by the vibration of a column of air in a tube. 3. Skinned instruments, where musical instruments made from a skin stretched over the end of a hollow tube or bowl, played by hitting with the hand or a stick. 4. Idiophones, musical instrument which creates sound primarily by way of the instruments vibrating without the use of strings or membranes. Let us begin discussing about the string instruments. Stringed instruments or chordophones. String instruments are found in almost all musical cultures. In these instruments, the sound is produced by the vibration of strings. The strings can be vibrated by plucking, bowing, or striking. Based on this, the string instruments are further classified as follows. A. The plucked instruments, where the strings are plucked by a plectrum, fingertip or fingernail and played. Example, the veena, rudraveena, gotuvadyam, sitar, swarabhat, sarod, nanduni, guitar, mandolin, swarnamandala and harp. The drone instruments like the tambura and the ektar come under this group. The plectrum used may be of horn or plastics as in swarbhat and bulbultara, or of wire as in veena and gotuvadyam. B. The bowed instruments, which are performed on a friction with a bow. Example, violin, sarangi, dilruba, balasaraswati and esraj. Ravanastiram, the earliest bowed instrument known to human history, had its origin in India. C. The struck or hammered instruments, wherein the strings are struck with a hammer or a pair of sticks, either mechanically or otherwise, and played. Example, piano and santoor. Of the string instruments, some like the tambura, tuntina, ektar and gotuvadyam are played on open strings, and the rest like the veena and violin are played on stopped strings. The veena is an example of a stringed instrument wherein some strings are played as open strings, example the three tala strings, and the rest stopped and played, example the four playing strings. Playing on open strings means causing the entire length of the string to vibrate all the time, as for instance while playing the tambura. Stopping the strings means causing a fractional length of the string to vibrate. For example, when a finger is placed on a string on the fingerboard of a violin and the particular string bowed, the fractional length of the string from the bridge to the point of contact of the finger alone vibrates. The plucked and bowed varieties, that is, where the strings are stopped, admit of two varieties. A. Those with a plain fingerboard, as the sarod and the violin, the strings being stopped by the fingers or by a piece of wood, hard glass or metal held in the left hand, as in the gotuvadyam, bhattabin and guitar. B. Those with a fingerboard with frets as the veena, sitar, dilruba and tavus. The plucked and bowed instrument may again be classified into 1. Those wherein the left fingers are in direct contact with playing strings, as the sitar and veena. Here again there are cases wherein A. The fingertips are in contact with the playing strings, as in the veena and violin, and B. The fingernails are in contact with the strings, that is, gliding along the sides or over the strings, as in sarangi and sur shringar respectively. 2. Those wherein the playing strings are contacted through an intervening object or mechanism held or operated by the left hand, example, gotuvadyam, balakokila and bulbul tara. In the gotuvadyam, a cylindrical piece of stick is held in the left hand and is glided over the strings. In the bulbul tara, the strings are contacted by pressing the keys of the keyboard. This keyboard is like a typewriter keyboard. 3. Those wherein a wire plectrum is used, example the sitar, and those wherein a horn plectrum is used, example the swarabhat. Some vainikas do not use the wire plectrum for plucking the strings. They pluck the strings with their fingernails, specially grown for this purpose. 4. Those wherein the strings are manually plucked, as veena, gotuvadyam and sitar, and those wherein the strings are automatically plucked, that is, through an electrical contrivance, as the swavadhita tambura or automatic tambura and paribhramana tambura or automatic revolving tambura. The piano and the bulbul tara are instances of stringed instruments provided with a keyboard. Of the strings which are used for stopping and playing music, the string which gives the highest note is always reckoned as the first string. and the other strings in the decreasing order of pitch are numbered accordingly. In the veena, the strings are always kept in medium tension and played, otherwise, the pitch of the strings will get altered every time they are pulled or deflected for the purpose of producing a gamaka. In the gotuvadyam and the violin, however, where the strings are not pulled aside for the production of gamakas, the strings are kept in full tension. Materials used for making stringed instruments. In South India, jackwood is extensively used for making the veena, tambura, gotuvadyam and tuntuna. Rosewood is sometimes used for the top plank of the veena and gotuvadyam. It is also used in making pegs in stringed instruments. The teak is not useful as a resonant wood since during the rainy seasons it absorbs moisture and swells slightly and as a consequence gives a dull tone. It is however used for the top plank of the sitar. The resonator of sitar made in Kashmir is of walnut and mulberry. Blackwood is sometimes used for making the bowl in veena. Cheap veenas are made from the wood of pine tree. This kind of veena can serve as practice instrument. It cannot supersede the veenas made of jackwood. Brass, bronze, steel and silver are used for making frets of the veena. Redwood is used in making the bow of sarangi. A metallic fingerboard of steel is used in sarod. Gourds are used for making the bowl of the tambura, sitar, ektar and dotar. The Rudraveena has two large gourds. The bhattabin also has two large gourds. A violin made with a gourd resonator also sounds well. A violin made of ivory in Trivandrum in 1834 can still be seen in Tanjavur. Pine, maple, sycamore, silver oak, silver wood, spruce Himalayan fir and the wood of ash tree is also used in making violin. The bow stick of the violin is made with Brazil wood. Horse hair is used for the hair of the bow. Stems of bamboo are used in making ektar, dotar, tuntina and ravanastiram. The piece of cylindrical or barrel-shaped wood used to glide over the strings of the gotuvadyam is made of the core of the tamarind tree and also of buffalo horn, ivory and ebony. Wire plectra are generally used for plucked stringed instruments, but plectrum made of horn is also used. Out of precious metals, gold was used for making strings in tambura and they gave a fine tone. The bowls of instruments like esraj and tavus are covered on the top with animal skin. The skin of deer is used to cover the resonator in sarangi. The snake skin is used to cover the top of veena in Malabar. Steel strings, brass strings and strings made of gut are commonly used. Aluminium strings, silver strings and nylon strings have recently come into vogue. Silken strings are used in swarabhat. Twisted strings, that is, strings of silk, gut or metal wound round by thin folds of silver, copper or gold are also used. Thin fibers extracted from the stem of the Calotropia plant and twisted carefully have been used as strings for the violin in South India. Thin fibers extracted from the Kumira maram and twisted well were used as strings in ancient yar and veena. Care and maintenance of stringed instruments. Bow care. 1. Be careful not to bang the head or drop the bow, as this can break the head. 2. Keep the bow away from extreme heat. This can warp the bow. 3. Always loosen the hair when you are not using the bow. Over time, this can warp the bow and stretch the hair. 4. Keep the bow stick clean by wiping off excess rosin and any perspiration after each use. Instrument care. 1. Always keep your instrument in its case when not in use. 2. Musical instruments should be kept in cases which are lined inside with silk, velvet, flannel or other cloth. This will ensure immunity against climatic conditions. 3. The neck and fingerboard can be wiped with linseed or almond oil to prevent drying and cracking in the wood. 4. Avoid rapid temperature changes. If you bring your instrument from a cold area into a warm area, leave it in its case to change temperature slowly because cracking of the finish or wood can occur. A good rule of thumb is not to leave your instrument in any place that you would not like it to be. So don't leave it in extreme hot or cold environments. 5. After you have finished playing, remove any rosin and hand oils from the instrument with a soft cloth. Don't let rosin build up on your instrument. Remove it after each time you play. It is very difficult to remove if left on your instrument for any length of time. 6. Do not try to tune the instrument until you have been shown how to do so. Like humanity, musical instruments have gone through a process of evolution and inventions, thus giving rise to an enormous range and variety.
Stringed instruments form a major division under the musical instruments. Hope this presentation has provided a sufficient knowledge on the stringed instruments of India. The next session shall commence with another major division of musical instruments. Thank you.